Hello everyone, my name is Bob. Welcome to a special, they're all special really, review of the Star Wars The Mandalorian Star Wars Vintage Collection action figure. Yes, this is a 375-inch figure. I say this because I always have people asking me, is this a Black Series? This is a 375-inch figure. This is a Star Wars 6-inch Black Series figure. So now we've got the difference. Here we go. Very different, not the same. Big size difference. This is 3.75 inch, almost 4. This is a 6-inch figure. This is a Black Series. This is the Star Wars Vintage Collection. Now, for most fans, the Vintage Collection means a higher price point and more points of articulation. So this is just a regular Star Wars The Force Awakens 375 Constable Zuvio, who was seen on The Mandalorian. He, however, does not have nearly as many points of articulation. He can't really move his arms like side to side, move his hands. You can't bend him at the knees, but he has 5 points, is what they call it. 5 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. His head turns. He does come with a backpack, though. So that's a difference. So here we go. And don't worry, we will talk about, this is a Kenner figure. This is a Hasbro figure. So we're just trying to cover all the bases here right away, because I get all these almost inane questions that if you like toys, you should probably know these things already. But there are people who watch who don't know. So I kind of trying to bring everybody up to speed right away. 375-inch Star Wars Vintage Collection figure. So we are going to talk about the Mandalorian today. Now, if you notice, this packaging is very much in the style of a Star Wars action figure from the Kenner line. They have been doing this in the vintage. They have been doing this for several years now. Now, this is a mail-away 2012 special edition Boba Fett Vintage Collection figure. And the reason why I brought him out today was, one, he's really cool. He is a Mandalorian, or at least wears the armor of a Mandalorian. And we can see that this is from 2012. This is the vintage style collection of all these figures. They didn't do this for a very long time. Hasbro did not go back and do the original Kenner packaging. They've done it for anniversaries, and now they pretty much have done it for the new figures as well, because they're realizing this is what the fans want. This is immediately recognizable. It's a bit of the artistic quality to it. I did break out to kind of show you, no, this is not the vintage collection figure. This is an actual old school vintage figure from the Kenner line. So you can see that it took Hasbro several years to come back and start doing these retro packaging again. And I got him from James Way for $2.57. These vintage collection figures run, this was a mail away, you had to do proofs of purchase. This Mandalorian, which I got from Entertainment Earth, I believe was $13.99. So I ordered him and I was surprised that I actually got him. So kudos to Entertainment Earth. I've pre-ordered figures from you before, and they've been canceled at the source. Hasbro has not fulfilled their orders, so they couldn't fulfill my order through Entertainment Earth. He is sold out on Hasbro Pulse, which to me is ridiculous, because if Hasbro, just make more. I don't understand why I can't make more. It was very difficult for me to find him in stores. I couldn't find him in the last wave, so I ordered him. And then I'll kind of show off. This is a Collect All 65 original figure. I wish they would do this as well, but they're not going to do that. So we'll put Boba away. This is a special 2012 Boba Fett. 2012 Boba Fett in his Star Wars packaging. This is how he was originally released. And, in case you didn't notice, you see that right there? He does come with a rocket to fire. Look at that thing. Yep. This was a homage to the figure that was never actually produced, that Hasbro did. Very cool thing that they did. But let's get to the Mandalorian today. So I was kind of torn, because I didn't really want to open him, but at the same time, I really want to open him. So I'm going to try and do my best to preserve the plastic bubble, just because I really like the design of it, and I've been keeping them slowly, so I'm going to do my best here. I'm cutting this with a knife along the edge so that maybe I can just kind of get him out of there without doing too much damage to the actual card, because I really do like the card. And years ago at Comic-Con, Hasbro used to hand them out so you could get just the card, which I thought was a really cool thing. Like, these are actually even punched. So these are from 2010 when they released these. They were hyping up the 30th anniversary of Empire Strikes Back. So I grabbed a bunch, of course, gave this to some friends. But I just recently, as I've been cleaning out my basement, because I've been stuck inside, been working on finding all of these things, kind of getting them together. So if you've noticed kind of a step up in our reviews, I have been adding more things, able to show better examples of figures in comparisons. And it's because I've actually had the time to sort all these things out. So I'm going to do my best to remove the plastic, this kind of bubble thing off here, because I really want the card. I think the card is like the coolest part. So I'll probably cut this down with the scissors, keep it, really like it. Now, as we can see here, we'll bring him in a little bit closer. We do have the ideal plastic coffin. We can see great details here on the armor. And this is the armor of the Mandalorian at the very, let's say the first 2 episodes before we get to episode 3, where he gets the updated Beskar armor. Even this one right here, you could probably say he would get it. So this would be the first episode, very first time we see him. So we do have his rifle. You know, now that I think about it, I probably should have found my my holiday edition Boba Fett, because he comes with a very similar rifle, which is what this one is based on. Love this gun. Awesome gun. I do need to get Cara Dune now, so I'm probably going to order her next. I definitely need Cara Dune in this size. I do have her in a Black Series figure. However, she was one of the few that I actually found out on the shelf, and I was like, I got to have the Mandalorian first. I can't have Cara Dune. Now, after watching the series for the 4th time again, really wish I would have gotten Cara Dune. So, that's the end of that. And let's do an instant, just stand him up, see how he stands on his own. God, he looks all lonely there by himself. Hold on, here we go. So, definitely a different style of figure. Let's check out these points of articulation. So, one thing I've always noticed is that sometimes when the arms are packaged, you have to be very careful how you move them on the first couple of tries, because they're packaged for display. And see how, look at that joint. So you got to be really cautious of that. So the cape does not come off. I guess you could probably pop his head off if you really wanted it to. But he does have a great mobility, great gunslinger look. Now he does very much similar to the. Now it seems as if to me that they basically just shrunk down the 6-inch Black Series figure into this. I mean, the look is very similar. The boots are a little bit different. You don't get the same points of articulation there on the ankle. But look at this. So here we have this. The gun goes into a peg in the back. Gun goes into a peg in the back, which is a nice touch that Hasbro did. Really such a cool aspect to it. Now, would this have been on a regular 375 figure without all these points of articulation? I would like to hope so, but I don't know if we'll ever get a We'll never get a Mandalorian that way. But it would be nice to actually. I've seen some mock-ups of them, and they're pretty good. And as I've said numerous times here on the show, I love holsters. I think it's the cheapest thing that they could do. It's just you're basically bubbling out plastic and then giving it a hole so that he could actually get a good sense of the character, and then it gives a place to put the gun. So I really like that. Let's check out this helmet again. Look at the detail on that. So I do really recommend watching the making ofs that have been on Disney Plus lately. They've been really, really good and very informative. And I've said this to my friends and stuff, and a lot about the making of shows. There's several fandoms out there. Like, everybody wants to know more about characters, more about where the ship came from, what the origin of the ships are, what planet are they from, where were they built. But for Star Wars, there's that level, and then there's the level of how everything was done, and the myth and the storytelling that goes into it. And when you look at a character like this, and you look at all these details, how did this happen? Why are these gloves so bright? Is this really a Scarif Trooper? Is this really a Scarif Trooper's shoulder pad? And then I can hold that up right here, and we can say, yes, that was a Scarif Trooper's shoulder pad. It's the first thing he replaces. Where did he get that from? So this is just a basic Scarif Trooper that came in a 2-pack, by the way. So the Mandalorian's been around. He's replaced his armor a few times. So let's see if we can get some posing done here with this rifle. So he's got a trigger finger, which is nice, but not much to really hold the handle of the rifle. So if we put it in here. And by the way, the one thing I'll say, it's interesting to actually look through a camera and try to pose somebody. It does make it interesting on your eyesight, because you're looking through a camera, even though it's right up top. So I'm trying to get it in there. But again, I don't know if we're actually going to get the sniper look of him as I really wanted to, but I'll do a little pose like that as he's on Tatooine using the rifle. Boots are great. It makes me want to get all my other stuff, all my other toys out and pose him and do photography with him, which I am going to do later today. And I will post close-ups and stuff on Instagram on our site so that we have them. But then here's his big brother counterpart. The thing I'll notice that I'll say what I like more about the 375-inch figures is the color of the gloves. Is here it matches this paint here, even lighter than that. But I love how orange and yellow the gloves are. It just gives it that extra little pop. So let's take, just do a little bit of this. These are from the Jabba's play set that we've recently unearthed and reviewed. Kind of give you a scale. This is a 5 points of articulation stormtrooper, and then here we have a guess what? Surprise! Han Solo vintage collection, Target exclusive. Just to give you a sense of the size and scope of these, and we'll bring back in Zuvio. So Zuvio is a little bit shorter than most, and then we'll put the blue snaggletooth, whose official name I cannot remember, but I know him as the blue snaggletooth. So it gives you a size of it gives you an idea of the scale and scope of the figure. We'll wrap this up here with a quick, we didn't do the one pose of him with his pistols. Let's do that. Oh, that is so cool to me that they would do that extra effort and give that place for that rifle, that it's always on him. And then I love this pistol. I was kind of bummed that it wasn't a typical Star Wars gun, but then as we've moved on in the show, I just love that it's his own gun. And it is based on a real gun, by the way. They have had before and after pictures. So I can bring in hot. I can bring in cold. So do a little bit more of a pose. Very cool. Again, I do have this on a curve, and it really shouldn't. It's just the way that the light box goes down. So very nice. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit here. Sorry, it's hard to zoom in because I'm doing this live. I love it. It's absolutely cool. It's one of the kind of figures that you really want to have in your collection. It's a character that you can tell your story. We know that he does have a mask, and we know what he looks like underneath the mask now. He looks like Pedro Pascal. But it's that kind of figure that inspires your imagination. It makes you want to do fun things with your characters, with your toys, putting them in different poses, different setups, give you an idea of what adventures that kids can have when they play with these figures. So I definitely need another one of these because I really want to keep him in the package. He just looks so iconic and cool with the way vintage collection figures always look. So recommend picking up the Mandalorian. Like I said, you could order them from Entertainment Earth. I believe that they're back on pre-order again because they're waiting for a new shipment. Definitely want to get one if you can, and just check the stores, but you're going to have to luck out and really find it. I just noticed they do have his little timed out grenades there. Are just awesome. So this is Bob from Total Toy Recon. Thank you for indulging my Star Wars-ness this week. We are probably going to do Star Wars Thursday and Friday as well, just because it's a big Star Wars week for releases, Empire, Revenge of the Sith. We've got Star Wars, the actual original Star Wars, coming up next week. So I'll try to do something special for that as well. But we've got mostly Indiana Jones articles and things that we're going to be focusing on later this week. But I think we'll keep rocking the Star Wars stuff out for fun now. So thank you for tuning in, and you have a good day.